Hello, everybody. This is Ira Feuerstein with the Built Different podcast, where we get to talk to a lot of really cool people. Be founders, C-level leaders from some amazing companies around the world. And today I'm really excited to have Chris Canfield here. Chris is the co-founder of a company called Traitware. Chris, welcome to the show.
Hey, good to be here.
Good to have
be
you.
here. Yeah.
So let's just jump in. Normally I jump in right with business, because that's what people are here for, right?
Right.
But I think you're all going to love this. Chris, I actually saw on TV, believe it or not. And it wasn't like something bad on the news. It was good stuff. He was actually on the Penn and Teller Magic Fool Us show. He's a professional magician aside from what he does with Traitware. Chris, you got to tell us about that experience.
Well, that was a great experience. What could I say? These guys are legends in the magic world, and to be able to perform on their show was an absolute honor. It kind of came out of nowhere. Actually, I was picking my kids up from school, and I got a call from an unknown number, and I just answered it. Right, it was like around lunchtime, and they said, "Hey, these are the two guys. We're the producers from Fool Us. We'd love you to be on the show." And I was like, "Is this real? Are they actually calling me right now while I'm picking up my kids?" I'm like, "Yes." Great. What do I need to do? And that started off the process. Actually, they gave me about a week to submit something to them. I actually had submitted something. They said, we love it, but we got something else very similar this year. Do you have anything else? And of course I said, yes. And then I spent the next week building the thing that ended up on the show. I had a friend that helped me out, and they had some, kind of like an older mentor, and we worked together. And then I wrote the script, which was really great. I got to tell the story I wanted to tell. And what I wrote within that week is really close to what you end up seeing on the show. They didn't do a whole lot of tweaks on mine. Pretty amazing.
That's awesome. If you guys want, go to YouTube, just search for Chris Canfield, Penn and Teller, and it'll come up. You get to watch. It's like an 8-minute clip, and it was fantastic. The responses from Allison, their guest host, were priceless. Like, you could tell she was just thoroughly amazed. So
she was so into
job.
it. Yeah, she's such a great spectator or participant. She's amazing. She's such a sweet person.
So cool. Well, that's a once in a lifetime experience, maybe twice. I've seen people come on multiple times. Maybe you have another shot.
Never know. We'll find out.
Know. All right. So let's get into business. So give me an elevator pitch of what Traitware does.
So Traitware is traditionally like an identity provider, but we're an identity provider that was built from the ground up to be passwordless, to provide frictionless or super low friction MFA to end users. So administrators deploy this to their services, and we protect enterprise services using identity standards. You may have heard of them, called SAML or OpenID Connect. And the goal of it is to make sure that passwords are not used when folks log into their applications, what we call the protected resources. Anything that you have to log into on the web or even your Windows machine or your Mac, we want to make sure you're doing it without any passwords. So we do that with a mobile app. We have an app on a mobile phone. You scan your face, you scan a QR code on a screen, and you're in. So we call it like 3 touches and you're in, and that's it. So the idea is passwords are I think it's like 88% or 80 some percent of the breaches that end up in ransomware and all the different attacks are related to credential misuse, credential theft. Somebody accidentally drops them in a Slack channel or puts them in an email, whatever it is. We just try to reduce the human surface for error. So if we can just get that out of the equation, then people are a whole lot more protected and a whole lot safer. And it actually turns out to be a lot easier too.
I love it. I mean, if I could do without passwords for the rest of my life, I'd be very happy, because it's such a pain. It's problematic. It's such a pain just as a user. And then you have the whole cybersecurity thing on top of it. They're selling billions of credentials every year on the dark web for pennies a piece.
It's amazing. It's such a big market. It's such a big market and such a huge need. So we just really wanted, we saw that need, we saw that gap, and we just wanted to fill it. I actually think I can say without any hyperbole that we were actually the first ones to build an end-to-end passwordless identity provider, meaning there is no password even for the admins when they sign up. There is literally no password in dealing with our system at all. There's no password recovery. It's not how it works. It just doesn't exist.
That's awesome. So walk me through your role and kind of how it fits into the bigger picture at the company.
Well, I was employee number 1, so it's changed over the years. I started off as just doing anything. Well, it was just a couple of us to start with. We're more of an R&D team. And we were doing, this was before, this was back in like 2012 or something, 13. There were no There were no fingerprint readers on phones. There were no face ID on phones, nothing like that. There are no biometrics on the phones. So we were cobbling things together. And over the years, I grew into the role that I have now, which is director of technology. And now I pretty much oversee the engineering team. Oversee product, and I say I work with the CTO in tandem to work on the IP. So I've dealt a lot with lawyers and patents and that whole kind of thing. But I generally steer the roadmap. I steer the game plan. I kind of present the vision for where the technology can go. And that's my primary role now.
So what's a typical day look like for you, other
That
than
is,
doing magic tricks to
yeah,
to
no,
break up the day?
right. I always have a deck. I always have a deck of cards here with me,
I love
but
it.
I do. Yeah, it really depends on the day. I wear a lot of hats because I love to do. I get to bounce around to marketing meetings and different types of meetings throughout the week: engineering meetings, product meetings, marketing meetings, security meetings, compliance meetings, all the different things. It really depends on the season. Like right now, we're in audit season, so I have to focus a lot on our audits. We have a SOC 2 audit that we get every year, and that requires the whole evidence, all the stuff that goes into a SOC 2 audit to make sure you're doing everything right by the book and secure. That's right now. It really does depend on what's coming up that day. I would say lately, what we've been doing lately is we've been moving to AI. We've moved everything to AI. I'm trying to move all the engineering team to be AI first development. AI first meaning in tandem with development, but no more hand coding if possible. It's just so much faster and so much more efficient. We've seen amazing performance and amazing gains from doing that. So right now, my focus is transitioning our entire company to kind of AI workflows as much as possible. But I could get a call from the patent attorney. Any moment I could get a call from the patent attorney, an email could pop up and say, hey, we got to work on this thing. That's going to happen. I'm going to get calls. If some sort of a customer issue gets to the level where it rises to like a high severity, I'm going to get notified about that. I'm going to work with the dev team to get that going. You never know what's going to be thrown at you, which is, again, I said, that's part of the job that I love. I love just change and different new things, always bouncing around.
That's awesome.
I
So,
did. I did
oh,
not.
go ahead.
Well, one more thing I did. Yeah, every once in a while, I do fun projects myself too. We can talk about that. Like, well, yeah, with AI has made things a lot more fun. I can do a lot of POCs really quickly, really fast, and kind of flush things out and see, hey, is this something we want to work on and hand down to the engineering team? And it's really fun to play.
That's so cool. AI is a game changer. There's no doubt. No doubt. So in the industry, what major shifts are you seeing in the industry right now?
you know, I don't want to harp on the AI thing, but everybody has jumped on the AI bandwagon. And in my industry, the identity industry, it's not just AI and how we use it. It's actually how we protect the identities around AI. AI is great. It's a wonderful tool, but if it's not traced back to who did it and when, if there's no throat to choke, if there's no trail to follow on who's responsible for generating this thing or creating this path of agents or whatever, then it can just get out of hand, right? And things can start going just berserk. So we're a lot of us in this field, in this particular space, we're looking at how can we best secure the AI agents themselves? How can we validate who they are, where they came from, what they're doing, what their responsibilities are, and like I said, who sent them to begin with, who threw them off on a task? Because you can imagine, a little typo happens, right? And you bring down your infrastructure on accident. Whoops. I said no instead of yes, or it thought I said no instead of yes, or I typed no, instead of yes, and boom, I'm down. You don't want to have to assign blame, but you want to make sure that it doesn't happen again. I mean, you do have to assign blame, but to make sure that it doesn't happen again. So I think things like that, how do we protect that? I would say that's one of them. And we saw our first agentic attack. So again, it's not just AI as far as protecting the agents. It's what about the defense against the agents, actually. So last month, I believe Claude was used, which is Anthropic's tool, was used to generate a bunch of AI bots to go and try to harvest credentials and run spear phishing campaigns. And it was really successful. So getting better at detecting that, at detecting deepfakes around AI, that's another one. I know in our industry, in the identity industry, one of the first things you need to do when you're working with users, this is when you're onboarding new users, your HR might do this, your IT department might do it, is something called identity proofing. Identity proofing is the part that when you sign up for a service, like your bank, they might validate your social security number. When you onboard to a new company, they might validate your driver's license or social security number as well. But they're also seeing it's you, that it really is you. There's actually an issue right now in the contractor space, engineering space, where someone might show up for a job interview in person and then go past that laptop that they get for their company onto someone else. So detecting those kinds of things, like where are they coming from? Is this really the person doing the job that we actually hired to do the job? So all this onboarding, all this identity proofing, and a lot of work around that. And I could say like recovery is an issue too. That's when you lose your phone or you claim to lose your phone. Now a lot of people obviously really do lose their phone or they break their phone and they need to get access to their apps again or their work accounts again, like we use an authenticator app, right, on our phone. You would need to identity proof yourself to get to register that again if you were to lose your phone. Well, same thing is happening with that's another attack vector is recovery. So say an ad, this is what brought down the MGM casino and all their networks last year. I think it was last year or the year before, the year before. So what happened was somebody called in from overseas, I believe, and compromised admin credentials. They were able to convince a help desk person that they were the admin and to give them the reset credentials, right? And that brought down their entire network. Now, if you were using a product like Traitware, well, we do geofencing, right? First of all, we have more strict proofing around it, identity proofing, and we can put on a geofence. So if someone were to trick somebody into giving them a recovery code or onboarding you again to Traitware, you were not within, if you were somewhere else outside of the perimeter of your defined granted access zones, it wouldn't even let you do anything. So there are a lot of things you can do to prevent that, but those are the things we're seeing. It's like, how do you prevent the social engineering attacks from going that are becoming even more sophisticated? The emails we're used to seeing that had horrible spelling errors and all that kind of stuff. Well, that's going to be AI is going to fix all that. They're not going to be spelling errors anymore in all those phishing campaigns you've seen. They're all going to be perfectly written and probably even more so tailored to maybe even to the individual with personal details if they can harvest that as well. So it's just going to get a lot more difficult to protect, I think.
Wild. Yeah, I always say that AI, has the potential of curing cancer, but also ending the world. It's so weird to me. Like, seriously.
That's the history of invention since the dawn of
Yeah,
man, honestly, right? You can use this, like in the movie 2001, you can use this bone to chop wood for fire, or you can use it to hurt somebody.
yeah,
It's always been the struggle. And as we improve technology, fusion's coming along next. Fusion's going to be able to use for unlimited power. That's used for good or bad as well, right?
yeah,
It's always an ongoing struggle and tension between invention and its use for good or not good.
yeah, 100%. So let's pivot into kind of current state of the business. And we have a lot of entrepreneurs or wannabe entrepreneurs that are looking for insight. They're looking for golden nuggets. And the big thing is like to find out about how companies are growing. And I'd like to just pivot there a little bit and talk a
Sure.
little bit about what's working well right now in the business for growth.
For growth, I think it's still a lot of the traditional avenues of nothing is better than in person. Even if it's like a web call like this, it's fine. In person is even better. I think growth is still foundationally relationship based. I think building a presence, that's key. Obviously, you have to have a good product, a product that's needed, market fit product, that kind of thing. All the things you actually you need to have a successful business. But I think as far as getting your ideas out there, I mean, there are more and diverse ways to do it. But because there are more and diverse ways, there's more noise. So how do you filter through the noise? I think it is still in-person meetings. I think for us personally, when people try our product, they're blown away with it, the simplicity and the ease of it. So I think for us, getting it into people's hands, making something super simple, super dumb in a sense, right? Like you can't make a mistake. People just do a couple taps and they're in. Make things as easy as possible. That's definitely one of the things for growth is getting it in people's hands and making something that's very simple and easy to use. But like I said, going to different industry events, I think is never gonna. I'm not sure relationships are ever gonna. Well, I hope in some ways they're never replaced by completely informal and personal relationships because where it's just transactional. I like meeting people. I like seeing them. I like working with them, hearing their problems, their concerns in person. Yeah, I'm not sure I hope that doesn't change.
Me too. Me too. So what's been frustrating or slowing things down from growth?
For our end, when you introduce a new paradigm, a new way to do things, that for us, that's one of the barriers. It's the initial of like, I don't wait, what are you doing? You're replacing passwords. I don't, how is that? I've been doing that since I was born. What does that even mean? Like, what does that even mean? Right. So I think that for us, that's getting over that initial hurdle of what are you talking about here? When we first did this many years ago, we were way ahead. I mean, it was complete science fiction when we had this working. Today, there are passkeys out there. That's more of a consumer-facing thing. I think Google and Apple have deployed those now. They're using them. That's where you just on your phone, it'll just say, "Hey, do you want to create a passkey?" And instead of a password, and say, "Yeah, well, I'll do that." A lot of times they're bolted on top of a password. It's an either or, which means your passwords are still there. You can still be stolen and used. But they're Apple, the big five are always the best at educating people because they have the widest reach. So we're kind of like piggybacking on them educating the public on this whole idea of passkeys. Now we're a passkey like technology. It's the same foundationally very similar technology, and ours is much more suited towards the enterprise world. Passkeys are way more suited towards the consumer world. But although we actually have some passkeys. We have some passkey options available as well, just because we want to meet everybody where they are and their customer needs. But yeah, I would say that's the thing is when you introduce something that hasn't really been done before, people need to learn. They just need to be educated. What is this?
Yes. And are there any particular metrics that you watch most closely in the business for growth?
Let's see. You mean about like sales cycle metric, that kind of thing, sales
Yeah, yeah.
cycle?
Any kind of metrics that
Like,
you look at, like, are you
I mean,
looking
we
at
look at
like average revenue per subscriber? Are you looking for time to
sure,
close, like those type of
sure. Yeah,
things?
we look at everything. We use some tools to help with that, some CRM tools to help with that. We look at I would say, it's still sort of industry standard about 8 touches to close. It's still a cycle. You got to have all those touch points and just keep um everybody's busy, right? Everybody's busy all the time. It's just the way it is. We're all busy all the time. So getting the mind share from people requires those touch points. That's pretty standard kind of sales metrics there. I mean, obviously for marketing, we look at like website hits and find out which of our social contents are more, which are the ones that are shared, most likely to be shared, that kind of thing. Which are the most likely to be viewed? Which, is it tips on protecting yourself against cyber attacks, or is it like how to implement MFA or something like that? And try to key in on that. What are people really interested in learning about? That's just website clicks. That doesn't necessarily convert to a sale. That just means, hey, people thought this was an interesting article. As far as sales go, I think yeah, the metrics of time to close, pretty traditional 8, 7, 8 touches somewhere in there. You were talking about revenue as well. I mean, I would say people are more they're getting more accustomed to the cost. Now we're not expensive. We're just another line item in people's budget. In a serious IT budget, we're another line item. We do service smaller SMBs, but for the slightly larger organizations, we fit in right with standard line item budget items for a security tool. In fact, we're often less expensive than probably some of the bloated competitors that might be used. Maybe some unnecessary features that you're paying for that are kind of built in over the years. We probably come in under that. So I think we fit in a nice sweet spot. And the good thing is because we're smaller, we can pivot really quickly and we can build really quickly. We don't have a lot of tech debt where a lot of the bigger companies do. There were, honestly, a lot of our competitors were built on, they were built with a password foundation. So everything's bolted on top. And like I said, we were built passwordless from enrollment to login from the ground up. So for us to pivot, we're not even pivoting. We're just building on top of a really solid existing technology that's wonderful. And like I said, AI is helping us accelerate that in ways I couldn't even have imagined probably 6 months ago. It's pretty unbelievable what we're delivering daily now and what we're going to be able to deliver in even just a couple months. It's unbelievable.
It's wild.
Yeah.
So where do you want the business to be? Let's say it's a year from now. It's the end of 2026. Where do you want the business to be, growth wise?
Yeah. I would say probably that's a good question. Of course, accelerating growth is the dumb answer, but um, you know, we definitely want to have. I would say we're not at this level yet, but several. Am I allowed to publicly disclose this? I'm not sure if I'm allowed to publicly
If you
disclose
don't
it
want, don't do
or
it.
not.
Like, yes.
A multiple of where we are now. I would say a multiple of where
Yeah.
we are now, and probably at that point, an external infusion to accelerate growth even more and expand the team. But like I said, even team expansion has changed so much. I hate to talk about AI, but I mean, I built out my AI team over the weekend, my AI engineering team over the weekend, and I brought in my lead engineer on Monday and said, we're going to build, I just built out my personal team for my personal project. I said, we're going to build out our team this week. Like, it's very different, but I can't wait to hire more people because I know we'll be able to accelerate even faster with some extra bodies. So I'm looking forward to that too. And then accelerating probably our market presence. That's the other thing I really want to do. We're looking at that next year. Really, like I talked about in person, really expanding our market presence to hit up some of the bigger conferences, and just really just talk to people and share the passion and the vision that we have for this product because we love it. And I said once people play with it and get in there, they just don't want to go back to like the pecking their passwords out again or even auto filling them. It's just a pain.
Yeah. Like I use password manager and
Yep.
it's still a pain
Yeah. It,
because half the time it doesn't even work.
I was gonna say it doesn't always work. They're always changing things on the other side where they're trying to log into and it doesn't line up. And it's like it's such a pain. Yeah.
I
But
know.
look, they
So
were necessary. They were necessary, right?
yeah.
We partner with some of them. We protect them. Right? We use one. We have to because not everybody's off legacy credentials. So we put Traitware in front of the provider. We use Keeper. We put it in front of that one, and we have to scan a QR code every time to get into Keeper, and that's fine. We know it's secure, right? Don't protect all your passwords with the master password. That's scary to me, right? But it was a
Yeah.
necessary step. You go from passwords to no passwords. Well, what's in the middle? Well, in the middle is like the password manager where you can hold them all and and shove them in and fill them in. And so it's a bridge to where we are. So we're on board with supporting that until we can move everyone to where we are.
Yeah. And if you could fix one thing that would you say is that's holding you back or slowing you down, what would it be?
Slowing us down right now, honestly, it's marketing budget. To be honest with you, when I've gone through the budget stuff, I think right now it's not product. I think our product is really solid. I think for us right now, it's really infusing more cash into the marketing side of things and getting out there. You can do that try not to do that with vaporware. You're talking about point, you can try to do that. I'm sure people have succeeded doing that. That's just not my thing. And I don't think in today's world, I don't think you need to even make vaporware anymore. I don't think that's a thing. I think that's going to be gone. So you shouldn't need to make any vaporware. You should create a good MVP and get it out there. If you feel like you need to infuse cash in your marketing at that point, do it. But I think at this point we're at a growth mindset, and it's just let's off to the races with marketing.
Great. Now, before we wrap up, I want to ask you one last thing. And we always finish up with this. Basically, our audience is filled with founders and leaders. They're building every day. They're struggling. We've seen all the arrows in our backs. And I always like to leave it with one tip that's helped you grow your business. Something that somebody can like literally put into practice now, this week.
Sure. I mean, it really for me, it's one of those kind of simple things you just have to remind yourself every day is just stay true to yourself and your vision. You have to trust your vision. Your vision can change. That's okay. It may change as you learn more, but just stay true to who you are, the core of what you believe in and what you want to accomplish. And I think if you're passionate about that and you're passionate about your vision, your idea, and you've got something, then you've really got something there.
That was great. Everyone, you should that's a golden nugget out of like 12 that were in this short podcast. So take that away. That was great. So, all right, everyone, if you enjoyed the conversation, which I'm sure you did, make sure you like the video, subscribe, share it with your friends, your neighbors, your enemies, your competitors, whoever you want. Just share it because we got to get the word out that we're having some amazing conversations here. And we have more of these coming your way. Chris, again, thank you so much for joining me today. You were an absolute rock star.
Thanks. Before we leave, do you want to try something real quick?
Yeah, let's do it.
Is there a word today that really has meant something to you, like, or in the last couple of days? Like, is there a word you could summarize something like
Yeah.
like a meaningful word to you? What would that be?
AI.
Something more meaningful than that. It could be. You
Okay.
want it to be AI. You want it to be AI? No, let's do something different. Let's think of a word. Like not yes AI, but think about what emotion that conveys. What does that convey to you? Like, what would that emotion or that word that would? So the word you would say is uncertainty.
Yeah.
All right, that makes sense. So let's see if this works. I'm not sure if this is going to work or not, but we'll find out in a second. Do you have Instagram?
I do.
You do. Okay. If you go to my Instagram page, my Instagram page is Chris Canfield Magic.
Okay. Hold on one second.
And we didn't set this up, right? We didn't set any of this thing up.
No, I had no idea we were
just
going
go to my
this.
page, but don't look at it yet. Search me up and search up Chris Canfield Magic. And if you're at home and you want to do that too, you can feel free to do that.
Okay. Yeah, I see it on my list.
So Ira, every day I put a fortune up on my Instagram page once in a while, right? Can you read? Read my bio on the page? Does it say anything?
Okay, let me go to it. Let's see here. Creator of magical things.
Is that
The
what it says?
games we yeah.
Is that really what it says? If you
Yeah.
refresh it, does it change? If you pull
Let me
down and
see.
refresh it?
It says the games we play. Creator of magical things, the games we play show in link. Fullest performance in link.
Okay. So here. So every day I try to put a fortune up there. And today I wanted to put one up there about the word uncertainty. That's what I wanted to do. If you refresh it now, I don't think it had refreshed yet. I'm not sure if it had refreshed. I think sometimes it holds in what it's going to say from like the previous days. It doesn't always
Oh yeah,
it like it
it's
like
there.
caches things.
Yeah, it's there. Fortune of the day. A new beginning often hides behind the veil of uncertainty. Follow me for more magic.
That is crazy. Yeah, you have to refresh it sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. That was great.
Amazing. Amazing. Cool.
Amazing. Well, thanks for joining today, everybody. Smash that like button and we're out of here. Thanks so much, Chris. That was great.
You bet. Thanks.